Hi guys, Andy N, Spoken Label, back in the house on an Easter Monday. Yeah, I'm podcasting over Easter. But hey, it's got to be done. Now, I've got a lovely lady with me today, and kudos to our mutual friend, Katie Haig, who I've just found out is actually almost a neighbour of this lady I'm speaking to. So it's great this, so thanks for this, Katie. Your friend here has been really, really interesting lady so far to talk to off mic. So, Kimberley, I'm just going to let you go for it, okay? But people who don't know you then, first of all, would you like to introduce yourself? And obviously, tell people obviously who you are and a little bit about your background and what we're going to talk about today, because it's not obviously, for once, it's not writing related, it is, but it's still very, very interesting.
Well, that's great, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak to yourself and your followers. And again, thanks to Katie for that. My name's Kim Goldie, and I am known as the Lancashire Wellness Witch. I have quite a strong and keen background in healthcare. I actually work for the NHS as a proper job, if that's what you want to call it, as my day job, as a healthcare assistant, and I've done that for a little over 10 years. And so health and healing and helping people to feel better is something that I've always been into. I'm taking a more holistic route with that. So that means looking more at the person as a whole rather than the symptom that they have. So that's the basis of holistic healthcare, is treating the person as a whole. And I call myself the Lancashire Wellness Witch because, as well as being into health and wellness and holistic care, I do also practice witchcraft. So I've kind of tried to combine the two.
It's an interesting mix. It's an interesting mixture, that really. So you said before, it's like you started off in the NHS, didn't you? Just over 10 years ago. Did your interest in witchcraft and holistic stuff come before that, or has it come naturally over time?
It's something that I've been interested in for much longer than I've been involved with the NHS. As a kid, it was something I was always interested in, potion making and all that kind of stuff. And as an adult, I've come to learn that there's a lot more to it than the kind of stuff you see on the TV, and the basics and the history behind witchcraft. They were mainly healers. They were the village wise woman, most witches back in the day, and they used their knowledge of herbs and local plants to create medicines and tinctures and things to help soothe people and heal people. And so it's always been in my mind something that I've been interested in and I've researched a lot, and then working for the NHS was just kind of a job that I fell into, perhaps because I was interested in looking after people anyway. And yeah, so on and off over the years I've been in the NHS, I've come back to the holistic side and the witchcraft side of healing people and treating people, and there is a big crossover between what we call modern medicine as we know it, which is your GPs and your doctors and your nurses and things like that, and more traditional methods. So it's interesting to see where a lot of the treatments we use today, where they come from, in what would be the olden times, the way people were treated with more natural remedies, herbs and things like that. So yeah, it's kind of a natural crossover, but I've been interested in health and witchcraft for a long time.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because I'm reading an article, obviously, that Katie's referred me to. And I think she did this article actually about yourself fairly recently. When you've stated it, and I want you to expand on this before we start, you've said, there's a quote you saying there's a lot of misconceptions about witchcraft and paganism. What little I know about it, I know more about the Buddhist side, because I used to be full on Buddhist myself years ago. And I think you're right. What I know about it is, yeah, there certainly is not what I say witchcraft, obviously, there's a myth around, there's darkness behind it. And I want you to explain to people, that you don't more than I do, certainly. So give us a bit more details about it then, obviously, so we can get rid of some of these what's the word I'm looking for, misconceptions, that's a good word.
Yeah, of course. There are a lot of misconceptions, and I think we have Hollywood to thank for that, as we do with most things. Things are kind of glamorized and dramatized, and things like paganism. I remember watching a film many years ago I can't remember the name of the film, but it had Dan Aykroyd in it, and they were chasing down a gang of evil bad guys, and they were all pagans, and they meet them at this pagan festival, and they were like, these real kind of bad guys, and there was some kind of weird sacrifice going on and all that sort of stuff. So this is the impression that the general public have. Now there are different kind of arms and branches to paganism. There's traditional pagans, there's what we have these days like modern or neo-pagans, which use some of the old traditional methods and celebrations, but do it in a more modern way. And there's also Wicca, which is branched off from paganism, but that is more, you will find more Wiccans that are witches usually than you will pagans that are witches, because Wiccans are more about the natural world and the flow of the earth and working with the seasons and that kind of thing, which is very much how witchcraft is based. So the misconceptions have come largely from Hollywood dramatizations, and there's a lot of things that happened in history between the Christians and the Catholics and the pagans, and they were all quite well-known religions, and they were all kind of fighting for their place, and in some circumstances ideas were kind of pinched from other religions and turned into modern day practice now. But paganism is very much about the earth and respecting the earth and nature's way for things. I know a lot of pagans, a lot of people that celebrate the pagan festivals, and I can honestly say I've never once seen anything that's worried me or I've felt uncomfortable with, or there's certainly been no, goat sacrifices or, Holy Virgin sacrifices or any of that kind of stuff. It's generally just about having a good time. Pagans want to respect the earth and enjoy themselves while they're here.
Yeah, it's nothing like what you see in not Bewitched, Charmed, which I know my wife's watching and the reruns at the moment.
No.
It's engaging watching, but it's nothing like the reality at all. So, no, completely. Now, like I said, I know, obviously, I want to talk to you mostly today about the shop that you've opened up recently over in, I think it's Haywood, isn't it? It's near where you live.
That's correct,
yeah. Yeah, and I used to work in Haywood years ago as well, so that was a long time ago as well. So, but yeah, well, tell us about what made you want to then, obviously, your shop's your full-time activity, your full-time practice now, isn't it? So I'm presuming you won't have time to do work in the NHS anymore. So tell us about.
Well, I am actually doing both still. My hours with the NHS became part-time. This was another project to kind of try and fill my time with. So I'm still very much practicing, and I've actually got an exam to sit on Friday for qualification. Yeah, so
good luck.
So I'm still very much. I am still very much with the NHS, but the shop came about because it just became really obvious to me that there was a lot of people in the local area that were interested in the same kind of things that I was, but didn't necessarily know, where to go or who to contact to find the ingredients they needed or get the advice that they wanted. And I was talking to a customer just this morning who said, it's not the kind of thing that you Google, where are my local witches? It's one of those things. So yeah. So although I'm not, we're not organised, we're not an organised coven by any stretch. But I do think that the shop is a place to provide a space for people to come and learn about witchcraft, Wicca, paganism, herbal remedies as well. There's, my background is in health, so there's a lot of herbal and holistic options in the shop as well. And I've also got, which I'm really proud of, like a community library area. So a lot of people have donated books. Is this on
the Wicca library you've also set up?
Yeah, Katie mentioned it. Yeah. I wanted to provide that because the books are quite expensive to buy on subjects like that. And I think if it's not something you're 100% sure what path you want to follow, or even if you want to follow a path at all, going out and buying a load of books and there are so many books out there as well, it can be quite confusing what you think is the right advice and who you should be following and this kind of thing. So I thought if I got a load of books on all the different areas, so there's spell casting books, there's herbal remedy books, aromatherapy books. I've even got one on from Reader's Digest, I think it is, from
Wow.
the nervous system, the brain in the nervous system, or something like that. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, there's a lot there, but it's just something for people to come and just have a look, you know, before they commit to a certain path and spending a load of money on books and ingredients and tools and stuff, for them to just learn. I just want to help to educate people a little bit and help them to make their own choices on you know, what they want to do.
Yeah, brilliant. I can see that from looking at the articles I've been reading up on you. You said, like, obviously, this is worth saying, for this is in your article on the Rochdale Online, where the Wicker Library, people to quote, is a Wicker Library people can come in, sit down and read, as well as been offered ritual workshops to go and let off bad energy. So tell us next then about the ritual workshop. What exactly are you doing with that?
Okay, so I'm glad you've asked me about that, because I was a little bit reticent at first to use the word ritual for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I thought it was just interesting choice of words there.
It can be a little bit of a scary word, but I think I decided the same as why I decided to keep the word witch in the business name, because I want people to understand that these are, in our communities and the people that we are around, they're very normal words to use, and it's not something you should be afraid of. A ritual, I do the workshops to help people understand how they can access the energies that they want to use. So, for example, the last workshop I did was a full moon ritual. Now, anyone that's into the practice, it would be very aware that full moon is a great time for releasing that energy. Yeah, so we did a workshop around that, and it was a small group of 5 people plus me. And we selected some crystals and some herbs, and there was some spell work involved, and we did it as a group, and we used each other's energy to kind of help get rid of the stuff in our lives that didn't serve us anymore. And I called it a ritual because it is a ritual in the sense that you do, you know, a certain set thing to achieve your goal. But I mean, a ritual can be, I said this to Katie as well, it can be something as simple as making your cup of tea in the morning. Everybody will have a certain cup that they like to use, and a certain way that they stir the tea, or a certain point that they add the milk, and all these little elements that build up to that final thing of you having your morning brew is a ritual of sorts, because it's something that you do consistently for an end goal, and you do it with intention. You know, you pick a certain cup for a certain reason. And that's basically what ritual is. It's not as scary as it might sound.
Interesting, yeah. Now I want to also ask next then. Obviously, when you come together in your group, and obviously, like it's quoted here, you can take on some of your made during the workshop, such as a moon bottle. Now I've not come across that before. So tell us what a moon bottle is next.
Okay, so this ritual workshop we did on the full moon, it's quite common practice within witchcraft to set out a bottle or a container of some sort with water in to charge under the full moon.
Right.
Put it on a windowsill somewhere where the moonlight is going to charge the water up, and then you use that in your spell work, or you can make your morning brew with it, you can water your plants with it, whatever your intentions are for that particular energy. So I thought it would be nice, because the ritual was based around the full moon, to have everybody take home a bottle, a little glass bottle that we'd filled with crystals and herbs throughout the ritual. And then they take that home as their own then. So each full moon, they can reuse it, fill it with the water, and charge the moon water up.
Right. Now getting on. That makes sense now. This thing I knew, I showed you how scattershot my knowledge in this sort of thing. I knew some of the stuff we were going to talk about today, but other things not. Now, I can see on your website as well, obviously you do tarot card reading as well. Now, did this come out to you about the same time, or does this come later on again?
Yeah, at the same sort of time as I was really taking an active interest, learning about the different kinds of witchcraft that there are and the different paths that you can take. And I thought it was really interesting, and I wasn't sure how it worked. And, you know, at first I was quite skeptical. I thought, you know, it's just a deck of cards. What can it tell you that you know, that you're not kind of don't already know yourself? And anyway, my partner Chris very kindly bought a deck for me, because I've been kind of mentioning, I'd like the idea. So he bought a deck for me, and you know, I did a bit of research, and this particular deck I just felt was meant to be mine. You know, I had a real connection with these cards, and it's the only deck. I have several decks, but this particular one is the only one that I really use to do readings with. And so far, I found that all the readings I've done for both myself and customers and friends and family have all been fairly accurate, and that's just something that's come to me. It's not. There are plenty of books on tarot and plenty of websites you can visit, and you know, that's great if you want to research it. But I think something that's intuitive like that, you know, you either feel it or you don't.
No,
and a lot of my friends use different types of cards. There's oracle cards, and some people do rune casting, and I've tried that.
Yeah, it's unusual.
I've tried rune casting, but it doesn't, for me, I don't have the same feel for it as I do for tarot cards. So it's not kind of a one tool fits all. Everybody connects to different tools differently.
Yeah, I agree. I've got several friends that do tarot card readings. One of friend of mine does makes a living off it in Brighton, and he uses angel cards. He does.
Yep.
So like, and he said exactly the same thing you've said, where it's when you know, I think almost instantly when you pick the pack up, you know, there's something there. It's like, I'm a writer, and I can drive a shop mad, and you must be the same. Some things yours are instinct. I can go into a shop, buy a new pen for writing, and I could be picking up 10 to 15 pens for I pick up that pen, and you just know it. And the same thing goes with tarot cards and angel cards, what I can understand straight away. There's something that grabs you, isn't there, straight away? So
there's a reason that you need that particular. I use the word tool because that's what they are. You know, a pen to a writer is an important tool. A deck of tarot cards to a medium is an important tool. A wand to people that like to use them is an important tool. These are the kinds of things, and these items do choose you. And you know, like you said, you could go through 20 pens and you'll find that one and you go, yeah, this feels right. It's exactly the same. Most of the tools that I use, crystals, herbs, I choose them for the spell work that I do intuitively. I pick the ones that I feel that I need to use at the time, unless I'm doing something very specific, because there are certain herbs obviously that have well-known properties and you have to use them in a certain way. So, but yeah, when it comes to choosing tools for the work, they choose you rather than you choosing them.
Yeah, it's always weighing that, I believe it straight away. Now, the other thing that I've not come across before in your shop was, I'm just trying to find the ritual bath soaks. Now, yeah, that sounds interesting. Tell us about that then.
So again, going back to the ritual side of things, ritual baths are an ancient practice. If you look back in history, they've been a huge part of the healing process for, you know, Cleopatra very famously bathed in ass's milk, I think it was, a goat's milk or something. And so ritual baths have been a very, very big part of a healing process for many, many years. So I took the knowledge that I have through the NHS and dermatology knowledge that I've gained with them, and my aromatherapy knowledge, and I developed bath salts. So things like Epsom salts and different types of essential oils and herbs, when mixed together, can make quite a potent bath potion, if you like. And some of them are for specific purposes, like a full moon bath, for example. It's a good time to do a cleansing, or just if you feel like you need that kind of time to yourself. And we call them ritual baths because it is a full event. It's not just running a bath and jumping in it. You know, there's candles lit, and there's affirmations are said before you get in the bath. There's lots that's involved, and they've been very, very popular, mostly amongst women, for obvious reasons. I think guys are still not quite on board with, you know, sitting in the bath with the bubbles, but yeah.
I am, but I'm not a normal man. Yeah.
No. My other half doesn't do baths because he's 6'3", so he can't get in most.
Wow, good God! I'm 6 foot. Yeah, I've got a friend. My best mate is 6'4", and he has the same problem as your partner.
Struggles. Yeah. But having said that, you can turn a shower into a ritual event if you choose to. It's the water itself is the cleansing element. So whether that's sitting in it or being soaked in it, the effect is the same.
Yeah, I think my wife says it's a ritual when I go in the bathroom because she can never get me out of it when I go in. I think that's slightly different to what we're talking about today. Yeah, completely. Oh, excellent. Now seriously, now, Ian, we'll start winding down now, because obviously there's a couple of things I want to touch on before we wrap up today. But I know obviously your shop itself, you've got all your various blends of herbal teas and cups, haven't you? Now, tell us about the herbal teas of it then. Is this come from like a trial and error pack, whatever you think's right for yourself, and is it by instinct again? You're stocking this sort of stuff.
Yeah, there's a little bit of both. It's very knowledge based. I've done a lot of research into different types of teas and herbs that can, because some can't safely be turned into teas for obvious reasons, and some don't go very well with others, and some can counteract the effects of other herbs. So there's quite a lot of research involved. I started with a very basic recipe of, I like peppermint tea, just plain old peppermint tea. You can buy it absolutely everywhere. And I drink a lot of that anyway. So I kind of thought, well, that would make a good base for a tea because it tastes nice and it's refreshing. So then I started researching the different kinds of herbs that would go well with that and what kind of effect you wanted them to have. So the most popular tea that I make is one called Feel Good Tea. And it is a peppermint base, and it has elderflower and yarrow in it, and those herbs all work together to create like a calming effect. It just makes you feel, it's like a nice little natural calmer, but without being sedating, because you can get teas that do, sleepy teas that do help you go to sleep herbal remedy wise, but this is more of a just kind of giving you a nice little glow, shall we say. And that's because of the way the herbs work together. And so so there's an element of what I like to drink. I kind of figure if I like it and and I want other people to enjoy it, then it's a good thing to stock. And then there's a huge element of knowing what herbs to put with what to make a decent tea in the first place.
Yeah, no, it makes sense completely. So, okay, now obviously to start winding down, like I said before, now I always like to ask people 2 quick questions to conclude with. Really, is second to last one, Kim, is obviously, what plans do you have going forward for the shop? Is there anything you can reveal or talk about?
Well, if you want to have the exclusive scoop here, Andy, there is some big news happening with the shop. And very, very few people know about it, so now seems like a good time to bring it up. The shop where I'm at in Haywood at the moment, I rent the space above an existing business. And the guy who has the main unit shop, whatever you want to call it, is actually leaving. So the lease is coming to an end. Now, I couldn't take on the whole shop myself. It's a big unit and it's very expensive. So it was looking like the end before the beginning for the Lancashire Wellness Witch for the shop side of things. However, an opportunity has arisen almost serendipitously with some people that we know at the mill that we've been at today.
Right, yeah. People are wondering, obviously, what you talk about there. You suppose you better tell people about that, haven't you? You'll talk about
we
that
spoke about that before. Yeah. So
good things always come around in circles, I believe.
They do. So the mill to which I refer, you and I had a conversation briefly before we started the interview. It's in Middleton and it's on Townley Street, an old mill called the Lodge, and it's being restored by a community project, and we know the people that have bought it. And so we help them out and do a lot of community work with them and that kind of thing. And they have some units in there, retail units and workshop units and all this kind of stuff. So when we were there helping a few weeks ago and the conversation about the lease came up, and I was like, really, I don't know what to do. I don't want to give it up, but I'm going to struggle to find reasonable retail rent. They kind of said, well, funny you should mention, because we've got a unit that's about to become empty at the end of April, and if you want it, it's yours. So it kind of just happened, and I believe it was meant to happen in that way. It all sort of fell into place. So hopefully by the end of May, the shop as it is now won't be existing in Haywood anymore, but it's going to be moved lock, stock, barrel and witch over to Middleton. And that's where we'll be trading from probably by the end of May.
Excellent. That probably suits us well on the podcast here, because this never goes live straight away after the podcast finishes. I'll take the date afterwards. We'll work it out in a bit, right? But that probably actually suits up about right for you as well. So that's excellent.
Amazing.
News. So it's great news indeed. So now, obviously, to wrap up today, then looking at the time here now, if people want to find out more about you, Kim, and obviously this what's going on here, where do you recommend they go to?
The best place to find out information and to contact me is probably via the Facebook page. I do have an Instagram page, but I don't post much information on there. I just kind of do the pictures and the videos of the stuff that we've done. So Facebook, I'm on Facebook as the Lancashire Wellness Witch. And you can message me on there. You can find out, I have on the events page, any of the ritual workshops that are coming up are always on there, any new stock that we've got. Basically whatever I'm up to, and whenever I'm doing it, it will be posted on the Facebook page. So that's your best bet, really.
Yeah, you've got a website as well, haven't you? So Lancashire-Wellness-Witch. I'll put it on the right up. It does go, it's a bit complicated, that one.
Yeah, I've kind of set it up, but I'm not great with technology, and it took me forever to just get like a welcome page. So that's kind of still in the works at the moment. So yeah, for contact and for up-to-date information, I even, like, if I have to close the shop early for some particular reason, I post that on the Facebook page. So anything that's going on will go on there before it goes anywhere else.
Brilliant. I get you. So keep an eye on all mediums, I would say. Now, the last bit, obviously, we need to let people aware of is obviously, as long as it's opening in Haywood, it might change when you go to Middleton. But what are your opening hours at the moment?
So at the moment, I'm open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and I open 10 till 4. That's pretty standard hours. Every now and again, something crops up. I have to do a clinic for the NHS or whatever, something might happen, and I have to change those. But the standard hours are 10 till 4, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
I would always recommend as well, if you're going to come along to see Kim, is obviously perhaps check in advance in case the shop's not going to be open that day. It makes common sense. But anyway, Kim, it's been a pleasure chatting today. I've actually really enjoyed this. So it's been
I'm glad.
Really, really refreshing. You've been really open as well. So hopefully people will get something from this. And obviously after you move to Middleton, like I said, I'm not here to say what it's going to do, but in some ways it might suit you better changing locations sometimes anyway. So all the best. All the best for your project now. Hang around. I do need to chat to you off the microphone anyway.
Sure.
A couple of things we need to sort out, but it's been a pleasure today. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks for having me, Andy. I appreciate it.
Right. Okay, guys and girls, well, that's it from Spoken Label today. As Don Callis used to say in Impact Wrestling, and I like the saying still, is stay safe and stay over. And we will see you all next